So guys, it's now the right time to be buying Bitcoin or Ethereum. Let's discuss this a little bit more in this video. Don't forget to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. This video is brought to you by FX Choice. You can trade FX, stocks, and obviously cryptos on their platform. The link is in the description. Make sure you go check them out. They're a great brokerage. So obviously you've seen that Bitcoin's been all over the news. I'm going to give you a quick wrap up of everything that's been happening surrounding Bitcoin, from Elon Musk saying that they're not going to be accepting Bitcoin anymore for purchases. Also then Elon Musk talking more about how Bitcoin's energy levels are dangerous and how much electricity they're using around the globe. So let's just take a quick second to have a look at all of this crazy news that is affecting the price of Bitcoin at the moment.
Tesla hits the brakes on cryptocurrency Bitcoin because of its climate impact.
Musk has been a huge factor in the rising popularity of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. But yesterday, he sent the value of Bitcoin plunging with an announcement that Tesla will stop accepting the cryptocurrency in payment for cars. The use of Bitcoin, quote, cannot come at great cost to the environment.
The cryptocurrency crashing again right now as China calls for tighter regulation around mining and trading. Bitcoin is now down more than 20%.
Bitcoin plummeted 30% this morning to a low near 30,000 a coin, a level that it hasn't seen since January, before rebounding back near $40,000.
Bitcoin lost over 15% on a bloody Wednesday, dropping from 45,000 to a 24-hour low of nearly 30,000 in just a matter of hours.
Just an absolutely crazy week for cryptocurrency.
So the point of this video is we want to kind of weigh up whether or not you guys as traders and potentially investors are getting hit by the media talking about cryptocurrency so much so that your focus is just on cryptocurrencies. And the argument here that I want to talk about is cryptos versus stocks. Is right now a good time to be buying Bitcoin, or are there other places that you could potentially be investing your time and energy? So obviously you've just seen a crazy reel there of everything that's been happening around Bitcoin, which caused the price of Bitcoin to absolutely sell off really quickly over a period of a few days. So I'm going to go to my screen now, and then we're going to go have a look at Bitcoin and talk a little bit further about this. So as we look at the price of Bitcoin, you can see at the top here we hit these highs of around, well, it's around $64,500. And then it started to sell off, and we then got hit by a few topical points around here of, you know, Elon Musk talking about how they won't be using it as a potential currency to accept for purchases, and then also the risks surrounding Bitcoin. And we then saw China get involved with another crypto ban, which caused the price of Bitcoin to completely fall off, and it went all the way down to 30,000, and we're currently sat at $37,500 at this moment in time. So we have got one of the richest guys in the planet talking about how Bitcoin was one of the best things there was, to now saying how he's not going to be using it to allow purchases within his company for Tesla, and now also the surrounding issues around the energy levels that it uses. In some cases, this is actually the energy consumption and electricity consumption is bigger than some countries. So now we've seen this massive fall off in price. Is now a good time to buy? So if we are to pick up the pieces and buy at 37,500, and to get back out at the previous highs there, we are looking roughly at around a 70 to 80% upside movement, with the potential there that we could be looking at just shy of 100%. We're looking between 70 and 80% if we can get back to trading at these all-time highs. Now, all I've seen is me getting flooded in the inbox on Instagram asking, is now a good time to buy Bitcoin? The argument here is that people are throwing so much money into this as a crypto because they think that they're going to get huge amounts of returns. Now, the argument there is, in this case, you're looking at 70 to 80% potential gain. Well, if you've been following me on Instagram, you'd see that I posted stuff like EasyJet, which I'm currently up roughly 38-40%, where, you know, that could easily be 70 to 80%. Same as a few other stocks. If we look at Future PLC, just after the crash, it went from 900 all the way up to 2,800. When we look at that, that is multiple hundreds of percents. So although when we look at Bitcoin, it is at a good level to buy because it's had a pullback, I wouldn't say this is a trade where you should put all your eggs in one basket, almost like what I did with the oil trade where oil went negative, because it was once in a lifetime sort of opportunity. Whereas with this is completely different to that. This isn't like that. This is just one of many opportunities. And because the media is talking so much about Bitcoin and cryptos, everyone is chewing at the bit to be able to buy into this. But actually, there is no difference from this to looking at something like Tencent Music. You know, they also have been attacked by the Chinese government, and they're being called monopolists and so on and so forth. Very similar to the crypto ban, applying pressure from the government. And we also had these guys get caught up in something that was no fault of their own, but a hedge fund collapsing and getting margin called, and we saw these shares fall off because of that. So down to here, we saw that based off of the hedge fund going under, and then we also saw price slowly sell off as they've been called sort of monopolists of the sector, and also looking at a big fine there. But when we look at these guys, they're trading at 15, upside potential to 30. Well, that's 100%. This isn't like we want to take just this one opportunity. Yeah, I agree, Bitcoin is at a great level to be able to buy into, and you have got that upside potential there to be able to make just shy of 100%, 70, 80%. But there's lots of opportunities like this. If we look at the events company, for example, Live Nations, those guys there went from 40 all the way up to 80. Again, 100% move to the upside. This is more common than what you think in the stock market, and there is a lot of opportunities like that that we can benefit from. So I definitely agree that Bitcoin is at a good level. I don't really agree with Ethereum being at a good level. I think that that could go down a lot further, and it's also not been spoken about much in the news, whereas this is obviously getting attacked quite heavily by big influencers, but also governments at the same time. So I do think this has got long-term upside, and this is what most people would class as buying the dip, something really nice and simple to be involved with. But again, it's about making sure that we aren't putting all of our money into one position and we spread that across multiples. So there are at least 5 or 6 different trades that are set up right now for that upside potential. I'm actually going to be talking about one of them in my next week's video as well. But when we look at this, we're looking at like Tencent Music can also be a trade. So let's say, for example, someone was going to buy £10,000 worth of Bitcoin. As an example, I personally wouldn't do that. I would buy £2,000 worth of Bitcoin, £2,000 worth of Tencent Music, £2,000 of this other share that's got 50, 60% upside. And what I'm doing is I'm diversifying my risk portfolio across, say 5 different positions, all with this huge upside potential of 60 to 80%. And that way I know that I'm more likely to be able to achieve that because it's across multiple different companies and a crypto at the same time. So it's all about making sure that we're diversified, trying to make sure that we're not getting caught up and affected making our decisions based off of what the media is talking about. There's obviously a lot of people out there that says that Bitcoin is going to be over 100,000, it's going over 200,000, and so on and so forth. But I can tell you now, with experience and being realistic, if you were to buy today, you would not be holding if it was at 100,000 or more, because you would be going, I'm up so much money, I need to take this off the table. There is very few people that would do that. You would probably cash out of majority and leave some and hold it for the long run. But that is no different there from taking the same stance with these stocks in these positions as well. So it's super critical to understand where you're at in your trading journey and investments, and trying not to stick 100% into cryptos. I definitely think there is a future for cryptos, and the upside for stuff like Bitcoin is huge, but there is nothing saying that that isn't the case with stocks as well. We've seen as well some stocks around COVID as well, COVID vaccinations, stuff like that, that have rallied at over 1,000%. So these opportunities are no different to than what we're seeing as Bitcoin, okay? So just because there is hype around it, try not to get wrapped up into that. Use your methodical thinking behind this to be able to diversify and win on all fronts. This is why that we have what we call like ETFs, where someone buys into an ETF and they've got 10, 20 stocks under there and you get a nice consistent return. That's because it's well diversified. Whereas with cryptos, everyone is either, rich and making a load of money, or they're sitting with their head sort of buried in the sand, like crying their eyes out because they've lost everything. Trading is about being purely diversified and making sure that we've got a healthy portfolio. So I would definitely say make sure you research more into that. A way to understand that as well further on the stock side, if you're unsure, is to look into intrinsic value calculators, where you can simply put in a stock that you're interested in and work out whether or not you're buying it at discount or you're paying over the odds of what you should be. And that's based on its fundamental pricing to give you a better understanding of whether or not you're getting it at a discount or not. I always like to buy my stocks on discount and basically have at least 40+% upside. Another prime example of this would be something like Lloyd's TSB Banking, where it went down to 29 during COVID, and price usually was trading at between 60 or 70. Well, there's 100% upside there for us to take advantage of. Again, something else that I could buy into that's got over $1 billion in valuation. It's a huge bank, well-known, diversified. There's stuff like that that you can explore and look further into. So overall, obviously looking at Bitcoin, yeah, it's got a great upside. I do think that we could have a little bit more further downside depending on what Elon Musk starts tweeting. This is almost just like the Trump syndrome of Trump tweeting about what the markets is doing. There is no difference from what Elon's doing to what Trump was doing. So definitely keep an eye out on what Elon Musk is doing on Twitter, 100%. And also just be cautious that, this could have some downside movement to it, just like the stocks can as well. So obviously, guys, this has been brought to you by our sponsor, FX Choice. Make sure you check them out. The link is in the description, and check out their brokerage. So guys, obviously tomorrow we have a webinar. This is for my weekly classes. We're allowing another 100 students to be able to come and join us. By no means, this is not going to be get rich quick. This is no get rich quick in this. This is hard work, consistency and dedication. And we've had students for over a year that have gone through our weekly lessons with me every Thursday, 6 p.m. till 7:30. We go over the markets, what's been happening, what positions I've been taking in the market, the reason behind that, the strategy behind that. And then those students have gone off and gone and done really, really well. And that's not just me saying that. We've had one student that's made over 500K. We've had another one that's banked over 20K in a day, and multiple students that have made 30, 40, and 50% on the year. Again, this is not super easy to do. This takes time and consistency to be able to do that. But if you want to be in the chance to be one of my weekly students and find out a little bit more, then click the link in the description to register for my webinar. It's already crazy busy, so only join if you really want to take your trading to sort of like the next level. All the best, and I'll see you tomorrow.